What's going on? What's going on? So today's topic is sex, something the churches don't talk about. I'm kind of confused why we don't talk about sex more. And I think if we talked about sex more, maybe it'll convict those who are also teaching it, because sex is one of those things that God created for pleasure, to reproduce and to make godly families, but we live in such a perverted, sex crazed world now, to where sex is just one of those things where it's just something to do. You can pay for it, you can go get it. You give your body to just anybody. Sex is abused more than drugs. So I want to read out of First Corinthians 7, verses 2 through we're going to say 2 through 6. Now, getting down to the questions you have asked in your letters to me. First, it is good to have sexual relations. Certainly, but only within a certain content. It's good for a man to have a wife and a wife to have a husband. Sexual drives are strong, but marriage is strong enough to contain them and provide for a balance of fulfilling sexual life in a world of sexual disorder. This world we live here is very, just think about 2020. 2020, one of the biggest sex rings known to the United States, is steady crumbling, and it's going to continue to crumble. And there were many sex rings that have been crumbling. The marriage bed must be a place of mutuality. The husband seeking to satisfy his wife, and the wife seeking to satisfy her husband. Marriage is not a place to stand up for your rights. Marriage is a decision to serve the other, whether in the bed or out of bed. So remember, I've said this time and time again, marriage is a ministry, you know, and when we're ministering to each other, we're ministering to each other, believe it or not, in the bed, out of bed. We're seeking to serve each other. If my wife come to me and she wants affection and she wants sexual relations, then that's my job as a husband to fulfill my husbandly duties and satisfy my wife, and vice versa, ladies. Ladies, I wonder why so many women use sex as a weapon or a punishment to men. And all you're doing when you get mad at your husband and you not giving him any, and you making him sleep on the couch or you sleep somewhere else, all you're doing is giving Satan room to send somebody his way that's going to give him everything that he wants. Be careful when you do that, because it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing to you're married. Remember in Ephesians it says your body doesn't belong to you and his body doesn't belong to him. We own each other's body, because that's a part of being that partnership in marriage. Abstaining from sex is permissible, but only for a period of time if you both agree. And if it's for the purposes of prayer and fasting. So in the time that you guys agree, and for prayer and fasting. So maybe the agreement is, I'm not feeling well, I'm sick, and not tonight, honey. But ladies, check this out. We don't want to keep hearing you have a headache every night we want to come make love to you. It has to be agreed upon, because eventually I'm not going to agree to you having a headache, and rightfully so. I think my wife should be giving me sex. And so it's such a thin line, because I've seen the topics of marriage and rape and stuff like that. That's a very thin, very slippery slope, and something I'm not going to touch, because there are some men that abuse their wives in that manner. But God does not want us to use sex as a weapon towards each other. And then it says, but only for such times, meaning fasting and prayer, then come back together again. Satan has a fascinating way of tempting us when we least expect it. I'm not commanding these abstinence, only providing my best counsel. You choose them. And so verse 7 says, sometime I wish everyone was single like me. a simpler life in many ways, but celibacy is not for everyone any more than marriage is. God gave the gift of single life to some and a gift to married for other. Understand that not everybody's going to be married. Listen, one thing I understand about marriage is that it's not for everybody. It's just not for everybody. And I wrote down some stuff that I wanted to talk about. I don't even know if I'm gonna find it, but it kills me when I see people um, want to get married, but what they're not understanding is maybe God has a different calling for you. But the Bible is clear. If you cannot control yourself, then marriage is the best thing for you, or you'll burn in hell. God has defined what sex is from the very beginning. He created it male and female. He brought the female to Adam. He didn't have to give Adam a course on birds and the bees. God blessed them and they married. Their marriage was holy and pure. Only God can bless a marriage between man and female. He promises to bless us in our marriages if we keep it pure and holy. And that's something very important that we need to focus on in our marriages, keeping it pure and holy. And listen, fellas, ladies, if you out there cheating and you ain't been caught yet, trust and believe you're not receiving the blessings you think you're receiving. You might be getting away with it, but you're not receiving the blessings that you think you're receiving. So I'm going to do a video. It's going to be called "Sex Can Make or Break Your Relationship," and I give a whole lot of facts on sex, as far as the numbers within a marriage, without a marriage, that's not in a marriage. I mean, sex is just one of those things where if we use it like we're supposed to use it, it can be so wonderful. Have you ever had sex with your husband that's a man of God and God is blessing it? I have no doubt in my mind that God will bless that relationship, that marriage abundantly. And it has to be a different type of feeling when you're having sex under the covenant of God. It has to be a different connection. So it's not even what we're doing with Tom, Dick, and Jane, and it is we're not really getting a full fulfillment out of our sexual fulfillment in our relationships. We're not getting it because we're not doing it God's way. So again, this is saying that, listen, sex, God wants us to have a lot of sex, only with certain conditions under the confinement of marriage. He wants us to do it every which way we possibly can, as much as we can, but only in marriage and keeping the bedroom undefiled. Have a good one.